Welcome back to Coach B's studio. Today, we're diving into one of my favorite therapeutic tools called Bibliotherapy. At its core, Bibliotherapy is about using literature, stories, and written words to foster healing, insight, and personal transformation. In this session, we'll explore how Bibliotherapy fits into our journey together, how it integrates the wisdom of Adler, Peale, William James, and Dr. Paul Bolls, and how a single story, whether fiction, philosophy, or poetry, can become a guidepost for change. So imagine this: book pages turning and turning, a journal open with handwritten reflections, and you reading under a tree. Stories shape us. They allow us to see ourselves, our struggles, and our triumphs reflected back to us. Whether it's an ancient myth, a modern, a modern self-help book, or a powerful personal essay, literature invites us into deeper understanding, not just of the world, but of ourselves. So what is bibliotherapy? Here are some key words to be aware of: insight, empathy, self-reflection, healing. Bibliotherapy is the intentional use of reading and reflection to address emotional, psychological, and spiritual challenges. It involves insight, seeing yourself in the stories of others. Empathy, understanding perspectives outside your own. Self-reflection, using literature as a mirror for your internal world. Healing, finding words for experiences you couldn't articulate before. When we combine bibliotherapy with therapeutic conversations, stories become more than just words. They become tools for transformation. They help us access emotions, uncover patterns, and imagine new possibilities. So how does bibliotherapy align with key theoretical thinkers, particularly the ones that I follow? Alfred Adler, stories as guides to purpose. Imagine a tree with branches reaching skyward, and again, roots grounding deeply. Alfred Adler taught us that our life stories are not just random events. They are narratives we construct, filled with meaning, goals, and perceived limitations. One of his quotes from Understanding Human Nature: a person's life is not shaped by what happens to them, but by the meaning they assign to those events. When we read stories of resilience, forgiveness, or courage, they remind us that we too have the power to reframe our narrative, to write a new chapter grounded in purpose. Here's a question for you. What story from your past do you keep retelling? How might you reframe it? William James, the pragmatism of storytelling. Imagine this: a person standing at a fork in a pathway, looking at a signpost with two directions. William James, known as the father of American psychology, believed that truth is what works, that the value of an idea lies in its practical application in our lives. James said, "The greatest discovery of any generation is that a human being can alter their life by altering their attitude." That's in his Principles of Psychology. When we read a story, we're not just consuming words, we're absorbing lessons. Bibliotherapy encourages us to ask, what can I take from this story and apply to my own life? Here's a question. What one lesson from a book that you've carried with you into your daily life? What's one lesson from a book that you've carried with you into your daily life. Now, a little bit from Norman Vincent Peale on the power of positive narratives. Again, another nature visualization. Envision the sunrise over a mountain range, symbolizing hope and new beginnings. Norman Vincent Peale, the pioneer of positive thinking, taught us that the stories we tell ourselves shape our reality. Peale said, "Formulate and stamp indelibly on your mind a mental picture of yourself as succeeding." That's in his power of positive thinking. When we engage with bibliotherapy, we're not just reading, we're imagining. We're visualizing new possibilities and practicing hope through the stories we encounter. Here's a question. What mental picture do you hold of yourself? Is it hopeful, empowering, and forward-looking? Now, from my beloved brother-in-law, Dr. Paul Bolls, how stories reshape our cognitive patterns. Now for this one, cut to a visual of a brain made of book pages, symbolizing connections formed through stories. Paul Bolls teaches us that our minds are wired to respond to narratives. Stories aren't just entertainment, they actively shape our cognitive and emotional patterns. His insight? Stories are psychological events. They bypass resistance, create empathy, and guide us toward emotional resolution. When a story resonates with you, it's because it's connecting to something deep within your cognitive and emotional wiring. That's why a single sentence, metaphor, or moment in a book can stay with you for years. Ponder this. What's one story or character that has stayed with you over time? Why do you think it matters to you? A few practical applications of bibliotherapy. Key phrases: reflective reading, journaling prompts, shared stories. Here are 3 simple ways to integrate bibliotherapy into your daily life. Reflective reading. Choose a book aligned with your current emotional or personal challenges. Journaling prompts. Write about how certain passages or characters resonate with your experiences. Shared stories. Discuss your reflections with a friend, therapist, or group. Remember, it's not about finishing a book. It's about finding moments within the book that speak to your story. So I challenge you, choose one sentence from something you've read recently and ask yourself, why did this stand out to me? Final thoughts. Stories as bridges to healing. And imagine a bridge spanning over perfectly still water. A good story doesn't just entertain. It heals, teaches, and connects us. Bibliotherapy reminds us that stories aren't just words on a page. They are mirrors, windows, and bridges to our inner world. Thank you for joining me today in another session at Coach B's studio. If today's conversation resonated with you, like, subscribe, and share your reflections in the comments below. And as always, grow, connect, and thrive, one story at a time.